What's good, YouTube? Dmgaming here, guys. In today's video, I want to discuss the future of Dragon Ball games and two titans in the Dragon Ball game industry that people would like to see come back. Let's go. Alright guys, so I'll start with Dragon Ball Xenoverse. So a lot of people want Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 to come back out. And then the other game is, of course, Tenkaichi. Some people are wanting the Tenkaichi series to come back. I'll start with Tenkaichi first, actually, because that's the one that's, to me, is shortest on the list. Because what people don't realize with Tenkaichi is it was developed by a company named Spike. Spike basically ended in 2012, but they merged with Spike Chunsoft, if I'm pronouncing that right. So they are still, able to make games and stuff like that. They just merged with another company. This company specializes in RPG games, adventure games. I mean, games that would fit the Dragon Ball genre. But, is it possible to see a Tenkaichi 4 game? Yeah, it is possible. You have to also consider Atari was also one of the publisher developers of the Tenkaichi series, which they were bought out. Bandai Namco owns all the rights to it. But I think that as far as that IP being Tenkaichi series, that Bandai would have to, there would have to be something worked out on the business end with that name since Atari was attached to it. That's why I kind of really don't see a Tenkaichi revival happening, although it could be possible. If they did, I don't think they would call it Tenkaichi 4. I think it would be something different. And then Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, kind of the same boat. Like Xenoverse 2 was good. It did build upon Xenoverse 1. When I very first saw the Xenoverse series, I really thought it was going to be more open worldish. I always say this a lot, that with the Xenoverse series, the best thing that they could have done was made it basically an open world or an MMORPG, a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, but open world style. And I think that's why some Xenoverse diehards play Kakarot and say, man, they should have done this and this, because they want that open worldness. They want to be, and that's a dope concept, to be able to fly around with a created character the way that you're doing in Dragon Ball Kakarot, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. My issue with the Ultimate Tenkaichi people in games is that, guys, you've already had a Tenkaichi 4. Anybody remember the game Dragon Ball Z Budokai Ultimate Tenkaichi? That was Tenkaichi 4. And that is why we're not seeing another Tenkaichi game, because the last one flopped. Ultimate Tenkaichi was a flop. They took a different direction with the game and it didn't do well. That was Tenkaichi 4. Ultimate Tenkaichi. Same series, same people that made it, all that. But like I said, with Xenoverse, I think that's more of a realistic thing, because the game sold so many copies. I'm sitting here showing gameplay back from whenever they sold 10 million copies, 5 between Xenoverse 1 and 2, 10 million between the two. But guys, it's not so much the question of, is it going to be Xenoverse or is it Tenkaichi, Raging Blast or whatever. The idea concept is, what is going to be the core gameplay? And I can't help but look around at other game genres and look at the route that Bandai is going right now with their games. Right now, Bandai is branching off into other elements of games for their Dragon Ball games. It started with Dragon Ball FighterZ being that diving into the true fighting genre, which is nothing new. Dragon Ball games in the past, like Super Butoden, were in Hyper Dimension, Ultimate Battle 22, Final Bout, games like that were in the fighting genre. But you have that game, then you have the card games, and then you have Xenoverse, is more like the character creation type online game, and then the RPG with Kakarot. What's missing? Well, looking at games like now, you have Fortnite, you have you had the Battlefield games that had the massive matches, you had the You got the Call of Duty games and stuff like that. You have Apex Legends, Pug whenever it was popular. Basically, the Battle Royale games. Dragon Ball does not have a Battle Royale game. And I really believe that in the future, whichever game comes out next for Dragon Ball could potentially have a Battle Royale mode. Why? Because I believe the next Dragon Ball game that comes out is going to be focused on the Dragon Ball Super storyline. And this is why I kind of lean more towards the Xenoverse 3, because right now in Xenoverse 1 and 2, you only play through the Dragon Ball Z timeline. I can easily see them doing the same concept, but with Toa and Mira going into the Dragon Ball Super timeline. And then, you know, you're doing the Time Patroller stuff with that. And with the Dragon Ball Super timeline comes, guess what? The Tournament of Power, where 80 individuals were fighting in one huge giant tournament. Guys, that screams Battle Royale mode. That screams multiplayer. And it fits the mold of Xenoverse, because if you stuck with the true story of the Tournament of Power, everybody would have to play with characters that are already pre-made. Thus, you would probably end up with people with, you'd end up with like 10 to 13 Gokus, because everybody want to do Ultra Instinct and Jiren and stuff like that. Whereas if you go the Xenoverse route and allow create a character to be in the game, now you open the door for more uniqueness and originality with the Tournament of Power having 80 fighters. So you would have different servers, and with each group, each room, you would have up to 80 fighters battling it out in a Battle Royale Tournament of Power style. Why? Because Xenoverse 3 would be based off of Dragon Ball Super, and that concept would come along with it. Now, to me, do I care about that? I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't. I like single player games. I dibble and dabble with multiplayer games. I like Xenoverse. To me, there were things that Xenoverse was missing that kind of hurt the experience for me. For one was, I love cutscene super attacks and ultimate attacks, and Xenoverse didn't have that. Now, the reason they said they didn't have that was because with up to 6 players on the screen, it just wasn't possible, or it would have been extremely difficult to do. But guys, we have some new consoles coming out in the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, which will make stuff like that possible. I wonder if they will go that route. Will we finally have a Dragon Ball game with true destructible environments, you know, and things like that? But I think the biggest issue for people in the Xenoverse franchise was the NAT codes. I didn't play online that much whenever I played Xenoverse, because like I said, I enjoy more of a single player experience with Dragon Balls. That's why I love Kakarot so much. But I do like the Xenoverse games. And the NAT codes is something that a lot of people would like to improve on. I think that more people would still possibly be playing Xenoverse 2 right now if the NAT codes were a lot better. You know, so that is something else to improve on as well. Now, if they don't go the super story route with the next Xenoverse, if there is another Xenoverse, which I don't know why there wouldn't be when the first two sold extremely well and people are clawing at the bits to get another one. Anyway, they could bypass the Toa and Mira route and go into the Galactic Patrol route, similar to what's happening right now in Dragon Ball Super manga with Moro. Also, they could, if they keep Toa and Mira, go back in time and explore Dragon Ball. How would y'all feel if Xenoverse started exploring Dragon Ball? Because right now, guys, we don't have a game that's focused on Dragon Ball. We don't have a game like that. Also, I try to think about stuff like this from a business standpoint, because if they make a new Xenoverse, all those characters that you paid for in the DLC that you already have, people would be livid if they had to pay for those characters all over again in a new game. So if they announced a new Xenoverse, people would expect to have all those characters already in the game. So then from Bandai's standpoint, if they're looking at DLC characters and stuff like that, they have to look at it in the sense of, okay, how can we implement characters into this game for downloadable content? You can't really do it for Dragon Ball Super. It doesn't make sense because there's not enough characters there to make money. Yeah, they didn't add Topo. They didn't add Dispo Nim. It's very few characters that they didn't add. However, if you look at it from a Dragon Ball standpoint, there's a plethora of characters that you can add. Kid Goku, Kid Krillin, Master Roshi. You can add General Tao. You can add, you know, all of those old school characters into the game as well. So they could still keep the Z timeline, but they can also explore the Super timeline as well as the Dragon Ball timeline. This opens up the possibility to be able to add more characters into the game. They can even explore the GT timeline. Heck, they can even merge with Dragon Ball Heroes with the new characters that they have, Xeno Trunks, Xeno Goku, and all that kind of stuff. So the possibility is there, but guys, whenever you're thinking about these kinds of games, you have to think about them from a financial, business, marketable standpoint. Bandai is big on DLC. Xenoverse is huge on DLC. They did what, 10, 11 DLC packs? So think about that. Fighters is doing DLC packs. So with the new Xenoverse game, when you talk about the story and what you want in the game, you have to consider, especially, with these types of games, what route could they take that would that they can do stuff like DLC off of, because they're going to want to do that. The Super Dragon Ball Heroes route sounds profitable. Dragon Ball sounds profitable. Be it there's more characters in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and it's been going on, and it is pretty popular. So they could dive into that. They could very easily dive to that because they introduced Fu into the game at the end of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and he's in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. So they could go that route as well. Be that as it may, I personally feel whatever Dragon Ball game they come out with next will be corely founded on the Super storyline. We need that. We don't have that. There's no game that's based on the Dragon Ball Super storyline, and there's enough sagas out in Dragon Ball Super for that to happen. Let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section down below. I'm going to be starting a new series on the channel, the next Dragon Ball game, and we'll go through and we'll break down different genres and different elements of different games that could be possibilities. Guys, it's the month of May. Dragon Ball month, man. It's Goku Day this month, and we're approaching summertime too. We know that they have to put out a game at least every year if that deal's still going on. So expect some big Dragon Ball news, I guess, in the next couple of months or something like that. But guys, that's all I got for right now. Till next time, y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.